What was the Madonna recording like?
Oh, it was brilliant.
Who was the band for that?
It was Sugarfoot Moffat, Jonathan Moffat,
Yeah.
Bruce Gage, Pat Leonard on keyboards.
Because it's like a legendary album. Like, I have to say, I'm a huge Madonna, like that era. I love them tunes. I think they're just like really, really.
They are, and it was so music.
Really
they're
well written
so
tunes.
complicated.
Yeah.
There's a funny thing of when you learn the music, you sit down with the chords and stuff, you go through it and you go, what? And there's always bars of two and there's shift.
Yeah, they're
and
really
you think that
well
doesn't really make
written,
sense.
you know.
But as soon as someone starts singing, it just goes shunk.
Yeah, the melodies just put it all together.
It sounds like a 3-chord thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's not. There's
like
so much
stuff. You know, the melody kind of pulls it all together.
Well, yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like those IKEA bookshelves that you have to put books on for it to stand up.
Yeah. And the melody of the books. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what? Like when you were recording that album, did you know
live
it was
band
going to
stuff.
be? It was all live band.
It was all live band, except for Like a Prayer, which I actually couldn't even remember doing.
Really?
I think it was one of those ones where I was just mucking about, and you just think, well, yeah, there's no way they're going to keep that.
Just took some stuff, and then that was in the record. Yeah. And
this was the age of MTV, of course, and she had this incredibly controversial video featuring a black Jesus, which lost her Pepsi sponsorship.
Really?
Yeah. It was a really big deal. Really big deal, and it's. But the funny thing is, of course, back then most people knew pop hits through the TV.
Yeah.
You know, you just watched the stuff on MTV.
Yeah.
And what was great was because of the way it was mixed, I was louder than her on a tape, not on a stereo, but on a tape.
Yeah.
I was actually louder.
That was really honking through,
exactly.
Yeah.
That
But none of you knew that it was going to be No,
I mean,
iconic
Madonna,
album.
it was going to be a hit, but I didn't know.
But it wasn't going to be iconic.
Yeah.
And what about the Michael Jackson thing? What was that like?
Well, that was just bizarre because he was never there. Well, he was never there. And they kept saying, well, you like this and he didn't like that, come back tomorrow. And so the last time I came in, there was this new engineer who was this sort of giant Samoan bodyguard type bloke. And Michael Jackson was actually hiding behind the mixing desk, telling this guy what to tell me. And we all had to pretend he wasn't there.
Really?
Yeah, so I never met him, but I was in the same room.
Yeah. Super bizarre experience. Did you ever think about moving to LA?
Well, I sort of did. I mean, I lived there for 2 years, although I didn't. I just went there to do the
Madonna
that's
officially
record.
living there.
And like every time I was about to get on a plane, it was like, actually, can you do this? Or actually, can you do this? Actually, so, and then I'd go out on tour with Floyd, and then I'd just go back to LA because I had something else to do.
Yeah.
And but it was one of those weird experiences when it was weird because I was working with all those. I'd say, guys whose names I knew from Steely Dan records, like proper grown-ups. Whereas, the difference being those guys, I mean, they're all sort of super jazz players and everything. And kind of, they got a ceiling of ability, which is about here. But where they're playing in pop music is about here. Whereas that's my ceiling. I mean, that's as far, my whole thing was like, please don't, I've got nothing above that.
How did you get your chops? Like, how did you get it together? Was it just
I still can't read.
In a zillion bands? Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah, and even though, because I was thinking about this, about like when Youth and I started playing together, how we started this band, and it never occurred to us to learn other people's songs, even though we could barely play. It was like, well, you obviously make your own stuff up.
Yeah.
Obviously, and that's what. And then I remember I then had this. When all the years I spent in my bedroom, I mean, I did just play all day, every day. I was just absolutely focused on it. But I don't know what I was doing. I can never remember what I was doing because I wasn't practicing scales or anything like that. And I really don't know what I did. What I really don't know is when I learned slaps. Like, when did that happen? But I was really the other thing. I had this really stupid idea, classic teenage thing, which was that you don't learn bass lines from other songs because then you won't have a style. You'll get your style from other people. It's like, well, no,
you need to be original.
You actually just won't know how to play anything. I mean, what was interesting is a couple of years ago I came across a live tape of my first ever band. This band Speedball, it's an old band from Southend, and obviously, and the playing is kind of it's all with a pick. I mean, but what's extraordinary? There's all sorts of stuff I do which is technically really correct, and they're chops that I didn't know. It's like there's theory stuff that it's still very basic, but it's theory stuff that I didn't know and hadn't practiced, which was obviously which I've kind of forgotten. It's kind of more correct than what I do now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you think how it's like there's some sort of inherent thing. I think
you just like look at it and it just
it's always like if you're meant to be a musician, there's stuff that's naturally comes with the territory. I guess.
Yeah. Well, it obviously worked.
Yeah,
it did work out for you.
Yeah.
When did you when you were done in LA? Was there a time when you were like, right, I'm coming back to the UK, or did?